We saw from the first session that we've amended the soil, we've dug the soil over, we've got oxygen into the system, we've checked out irrigation, and now we're ready to plant. But are we? We can't put anything in the ground until we give a thought to a number of issues. First of all, we need to know which crops are suitable for the cool season in Southern California and which crops are better positioned to grow during the summer. As a general rule, those crops that are eaten as true fruits, and from that I mean where the flower forms on the plant and the fertilization takes place and the fruit forms. These crops, such as tomatoes or tomatoes as they say on this side of the pond, peppers, eggplants, these are considered summer crops. And the other crops where we eat the leaves, the roots, the stems and the blossoms, they're considered cool season crops. Uh, Crops such as lettuce, where we eat the leaves, beets, where we eat the roots, potatoes, where we eat the stems, and cauliflower, where we eat the blossoms of the plant. The notable exception to this general rule is peas. It is a true fruit, but it's also a cool season crop. So my first comment is, before we put anything in the ground, let's choose the correct crops to grow in the cool season and give us a good chance of being successful. Now, the second point. It's wonderful growing a great stand of beetroot, but what are you going to do if nobody in the family likes to eat beetroot? You have to give it away. So the next thing I say to you is grow crops that you like to eat. It's always good to try a few new things, but try the new things in a smaller way, but grow mostly what it is that your family eats. Now there are a number of ways to plant. You can plant as seeds, or you can plant as starts. Now starts are simply small plants that are grown elsewhere and put into your plot as a young plant. But in order to know exactly what you want to plant, you need to work out which ones grow best from seeds and which ones grow best from those starts. Another consideration is how long does it take from planting to harvest? How much should you plant at any time to ensure that you're not inundated with a crop that will spoil before you can use it or give it away? Which crops store well and which crops need to be used within a few days of harvest? All these things are questions that you have to ask yourself. In addition, how much room does each plant require to reach its full potential? Which plants are considered companion plants, meaning that they do well next to each other, and which plants can inhibit another crop's growth? What I'm suggesting here is that before anything goes in the ground, you need to think it through and have a fairly good idea of what it is you would like to grow from mid-September through early March. Why do I say early March? Because that's when you'll be wanting to prepare your plot again for next year's summer crops. What is a plot plan? A plot plan is a simple sketch showing where you will be planting each crop, how much you will be planting, and when you can expect to harvest. So in some cases, a second later crop can be sown in the same place again. I'll talk briefly about the plan. basically let's pick up a couple of things. Notice that I've left an 18-inch path down the center of my 10 by 20 plot that allows me to walk the length of the plot, and I'm not actually walking on any of the crops. I've split each 10 by 10 area into 4 sections and left a little walking space in some cases where needed. Notice that on the one side of the top part of the 10 by 10, it's all potatoes. And what I have done there is shown that you can get about 35 potatoes in a quarter of a 10 by 10 plot. This 35 potatoes, we can expect to get close to 50 pounds of potatoes in yield. And we simply plant them 12 inches apart in the rows and about 15 to 18 inches between the rows. Now these measurements are not critical. If you just fit it in so that you can get your 5 potatoes in a row and your 7 rows in the area. Notice also when we move over to the other side of the plots where I'm showing a couple of rows of radishes, a couple of rows of carrots. That's 4.5 feet of rows. Now radishes grow about 2 inches apart. If you have a radish that's about 2 inches in diameter, that's a good sized radish. But the question is, how much can your family eat, say, in 1 week? 10, 20 radishes in the salads? I don't know, but you work it out, and you don't have to plant the entire rows in one go. You could plant every couple of weeks, say half a row. So over a 2-month period, you have your 4 rows completed. And they will harvest at different times. So you pick them fresh. Now, of course, radishes are a root crop. They do store well. I say store well. You can keep them in the fridge for a couple of weeks and they're fine. But isn't it better to come to your plot, pick your week's worth of radishes and they're fresh, and next time you come out and want to harvest, you're harvesting freshly grown crops. And I say the same for your beets. So give a thought to how much of the rows you want to plant at any one time. Secondly, you'll notice down the bottom side I have a couple of rows of mustard greens. Now mustard greens are a great crop to add with any salad, and here you will grow them on a cut and come again basis. What do I mean by that? The seeds are very, very thinly sowed in the rows. As the plants get to about 6 inches tall, you'll cut off the first 3 inches of leaves, leaving about 3 inches above the ground to grow again. A week later, you can come back and cut another 3 inches off. And you can keep going on this mustard for the whole of the season. Now you can do the same with lettuces, you can do the same with kale. It's known as the cut and come again system. But we'll talk arugula, but we'll talk more about that as we go into the planting of each crop. Most of the information that you need to prepare the plot plan can be obtained from the seed packets themselves, such as the final spacing required for each crop and how long before each harvest. There's also a ton of information on the internet, but please make sure that it's relevant to our area and our climate. Talk to other gardeners. They will be happy to share their experiences with you.